Hello everyone and welcome to my little corner of the internet. My name's Michael and I'm bitten by a radioactive book. Hello everyone and welcome to my little corner of the internet. My name's Michael and I'm bitten by a radioactive book. Today it's Tic Tac Tuesday and we're doing the subjects tag. This tag was originally created by Rachel Reviews All and I was tagged by Eagles Books. And if you don't know his channel, he does awesome in-depth reviews for science fiction and fantasy books, or mostly fantasy books, and he's also a contributor to the Fantasy Faction Com website, which is one of my favorite blog sites about science fiction and fantasy. So if you don't already know him, go and check him out, he's awesome. So for this tag you have to pick some books that are correspondent to subjects from school. So let's get started. First off we have Math, and Math is a crime novel. So as I've read a crime novel lately and it's one that makes it in my top 3 of the year so far, I'm going to take The City of Stairs by Robert Jackson Bennett. It was a great crime novel, but so much more, and that was what worked really well, because in the way the main character, Shara Tivani, exposed more of the plot and the actual crime. The world building of this secondary fantasy world was opened up to us, and in the same way the main characters also opened up to us. So it was like constantly seeing a bouquet of bookish goodness opening up right in front of your eyes. And that was really well done, and it's one of my favorite crime novels, because although it is a kind of epic fantasy feeling, it's basically a crime novel, because the murder of a historian is where it all starts. So that's a very exciting crime novel. Next up we have science fiction, or we have science, and therefore you have to pick a science fiction or fantasy books if you read them. Yeah, that happens to me sometimes, that I read science fiction and fantasy. Maybe you have noticed that around here. Could be. And therefore I'm going, I know, boring Michael, I'm going with The Bone Hunters by Stephen Erickson, because it's my favorite fantasy series of all time, and it's the 6th book, and together with the 8th, Tall the Hounds, it's my favorite from the series. I can't talk too much about it. If you're really deep into the analysis of Erickson's work, which feels like forum pages, thousands and thousands of forum pages, you will know that there is like a little pattern in this book that translates to the way Erickson sees God versus man, and which kind of predicts what happens at the end as well. But if you're a new reader, you will, sorry if I sound condescending, but you will never spot it, so don't bother with it. But if you know what you're looking for, it's kind of amazing what he does with this book, and it's my favorite of the whole series. Number 3 is English literature, and it's a classic novel. Again, if you have looked around at my channel, you will know, Michael is not that kind of a classical reader. But I read a few, and I think the one I like the most is A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. I read it ages ago, and I think I might have even read it in German. It's that long ago. So I'm actually really looking forward, because this week started a read-along for 4, is it 4? Yeah, I think, no, it's 5. For 5 of Charles Dickens' Christmas stories, and this is hosted by Samantha from Novels and Nonsense, and I'm going to partake in it. And each week now, in the build up to Christmas, we're reading one story by Charles Dickens, and of course A Christmas Carol will be like the final one we read in the week before Christmas actually happens. So if you're interested in that, I'm leaving the link to the Goodreads group down below. Next up we have Art, a book with a beautiful cover, and as I've said before, I often fall prey to cover buys, and I'm really in love with beautiful covers. And so, as I have so many beautiful covers and I don't really know how to pick and decide what to show you, I went with something with a different spin. I just picked the last cover buy I actually did. It's a book that comes out in July, and that went directly to my wish list, and it's The Dinosaur Lords by Victor Milan. As you see by the cover, it's a freaking knight riding a dinosaur. What else is to know about? Yeah. And then you can look up at the top, and then there's a little quote from a guy you might know called George R.R. Martin, and he says something like, yeah, it's like A Song of Ice and Fire meets Jurassic Park. And then I went to Martin's website, and he featured the book on his own blog. Yeah, of course I'm going to buy this one, and it's a gorgeous cover. Number 5 is Languages, a translated novel. And just lately I've read The Three-Body Problem by Xijing Liu, which was translated from Chinese into English, and that was very, very interesting. Even more for me, because I studied Japanese, and they also use the kanji signs that are used in Chinese as well. And I'm a native German, so for me this was like a real mix-up, reading the translator notes of the English translator about Chinese kanjis that I, as a German, know from learning Japanese. That was like, a real language thing going on in my head, and that was quite interesting. Number 6 is History, a historical fiction novel. I'm also not that much into reading historical fiction. I might change that. I've got a few great tips by Estelle from Autumn and Tar, or by other readers from Goodreads for some very interesting historical fiction authors like Bernard Cromwell or Connie Golden, and I'm trying to read some of that next year. But so far, my favorite historical fiction book was a recommendation by my mother, and it's The Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett, and it's her favorite book of all time. And she said, yeah, you have to read it, it's really, really good. And I bought an audiobook in the time I was working in Paris, and I went back to Germany like every 3 or 4 months for a week or a weekend, and I heard this book on 2 or 3 of these trips in the car. And I was very pleasantly surprised with it. I wasn't sure that I would like historical fiction, but for me it was a great positive surprise. And the last category is Geography, a novel not set in the US or in the UK. And there I go for a mix-up of historical fiction and fantasy. It's 12 by Jasper Kent. It's vampires during the Napoleonic War, and the whole book plays in Russia. So it's about the Napoleonic invasion of Russia, and the Russians try to disorganize Napoleon's army by bringing in some mercenaries from Romania, and yeah, they turn out to be vicious vampires. So that's it for the 7 questions of the subject tags. I'm going to tag a few people as well. I'm going to tag Alexandra from Alexandra Noriega. I'm going to tag Sam from Novels and Nonsense. I'm going to tag Michael from My Chan. I'm going to tag Kelly from Kelly and Ellie. And I'm going to tag Grace from Grace with a book in her face. I hope you all have fun with this tag. If you had fun with watching my tag, please hit the like button. If you want to see more of me, subscribe to my channel. If you want to know what's coming up on my channel, look inside the description box. There's a little segment there called On the Horizon. I wish you a good day and hope you get bitten by a really good book too. Bye.